Alright everybody, welcome back to Hidden Assets. Tonight I'm going to be commentating a game I played with a bunch of friends. This is with Lannister, Zophorus, and SevenSprits. And we're just playing some Uprising. This is just casual. But you know, we're always never really casual. And in the row we have Desert Survival, Corinth City, Calculus of Power, Spacing Guilds, Favor, and that one Fremen card that Lanny loves. And in this game, I'm going to be playing as, I believe, Shaddam. This is going to be my Shaddam training, you could call it. So, yeah, we'll see where it goes. I am in the... What position am I in? Third position. I like third position Shaddam. I like third and fourth position Shaddam. We have a Gurney after us. SevenSprits aggressive fourth position Gurney. I mean, it's always good to pick up Gurney. You don't want Gurney to go to the second position person. That's always bad. Lanny picks up his patented Princess Irulan, and Zoff has Feyd-Rautha. Okay, so our first combat, the skirmish, is the bump, the green bump. And Zoff heads over to Fremkit, of course, drawing a card. Now, I haven't watched this game back in about a month. It's been since I played it, maybe a little less than that, but it's a little while. And so I'm going to do my best to remember everything I did and why. I head over to Desert Tactics. Lanny decides to take a weird tack and go up to deliver supplies instead. I think this is a mistake ultimately. I think it's fine to deliver supplies, the two Fremen locations and the contract locations are the best in the early game, but you know, it's interesting that he gave up essentially getting turn two worms. So that is interesting to me. I'll see what happens here. So I play, of course, to Desert Tactics. I get in here because I want this bump. I can get round 2 worms, and it's, you know, I'm Shaddam. I don't have to get worms here. It's not like a big deal, but I have both my daggers, and so I kind of want to. There's this research station contract that Seven's going to pick up here, that Gurney will pick up, and that's a very good one to have because he'll be able to get his Swordmaster earlier. Dagger played, that bodes well for me. I mean, he's not going into combat, so he's just setting up for next combat. This is one of the best combats you can get, and it just happens to match my color. I have already that starting card, the green dagger, the Chris Knife, card. Lanny goes to research station, and he's gonna just beat me here. I mean, this is a super aggressive play. The big problem with going to a research station round 1 with this play is you're really hurt for the next couple rounds. Sadly, I can't do anything to combat that because I have my signet ring, and that's my only blue access. If I had another blue access, I would be able to go in here, but I don't. That sucks, but it is what it is, and we continue on. I'm going to take my second place. I'm going to take my lumps and go home. If there's a good chance that, not a good chance, but there's a small chance that I tie Lanny with this combat because I have both daggers. Like maybe he didn't draw any daggers and that's why he went in really heavy on this combat. But he drew 1. He also got the Unswerving Loyalty. I told you he loves that card. He used Irulan's ring to pick that up early on, revealing the Beast Spoils. And he picks up both Beast Spoils and Calculus of Power, which is a great combo. So he's looking pretty dangerous here. I have 4 Persuasion, and I'm looking at this row going, I hate this. This is just the worst. But Fadakin Stilltent is one of my favorite cards in the game. And I really hate priority contracts. I can't get that anyway. Desert Survival is also good. But I think Fadakin Stilltent is an underrated card. Anything that gives you troops is just head above some other cards in this game, like intrigue cards and troops, and maybe like regular cards. So I think that's what I do here. I might actually just pick that up and prepare the way. I can't remember what I do here. Maybe I get 2 prepare the ways. It just depends. Do I feel like I'm going to go combat this game or not? Like, I've already thrown in 3 troops, but I have 3 more. So there's a good chance I can get stuck in the next combat. Or even like for a couple of combats. I do pick up the still tent. I like this. And I'm going to pick up the desert survival. So I can cut my deck down a little bit. Love this early game. I love desert survival early. I just need to get rid of all of my dunes now. And I'm set. 7 reveals for 4, 2 daggers, isn't in the combat, which is unfortunate for him, but he does pick up a Maker Keeper. And that's good for him. His hand was awful. He had a desert, Dune Desert Planet, and 1 access card, but he got cut out of all of the really good spots, so... Lanny takes this combat down, and he gets the first point. I get an intrigue card, one of not my favorite intrigues. I like spies, but I don't like retreating to get a spy. It's kind of weird, but it does work out okay, I think. So Lanny plays to Fremkit. And now he's in with the worms. So this is really bad for the table. So one thing that Uprising can do is it can imbalance really heavily in the favor of one player. Because the rewards for doing things compound. So you have to be very careful about that you table talk a little bit and that you try to get some of the other players to pay attention to what the other players are doing. So like right now, I was worried about how far ahead Lanny might get if he wins this combat with a worm, which he very much could do. So I'm hoping Gurney gets in here. I think Gurney did not... Seven did not have his ring last round, so he's got it now. I've got my ring again, which I drew, which is kind of lucky. It is very good. So we're just going to be on the... try to race up tracks and take 1 really good combat. So Go to Ground is an okay card. So I like Go to Ground. I think it's actually a fine card. And I like it because you can put 1, or you can put a couple troops in, you can get a reward, and you can toss your spy in the most opportune point. Like if you get this early, you definitely want to put it on the green Landsride area. That's my favorite place to put it, right by the Swordmaster. My favorite thing to do in this game is to camp the Swordmaster. Gurney is getting in there. So here's 3. And that's very good for him. He's going to have an extra persuasion now when he reveals. Desert Tactics for Zoff, just throwing in the 1 and trashing, which is an interesting choice. I think he just definitely feels like he's out of position, especially with Gurney here, kind of loaded up. And I could even potentially like try to do something here, but I think I just kind of like sit out this one. This is when 3 people are in a combat. Unless you can guarantee pushing one of them out, it's not worth it. And since I'm in second position, Lanny's kind of out of position here. So I could push Lanny out of this combat because this is his last action. And if he doesn't defend, it's pretty easy for me to do so. He lost, or he had 1 dagger in hand last round, and so he has 1 dagger in hand this round. So I can pretty much guarantee how many... Nope, there goes the other dagger. So I know that he has no daggers in hand, so I can just go in and win this if I wanted to, but I don't think I'm going to do that here. I'm going to take the Signet Ring and work on my Fremen. Now, there's also an argument to just take... Whoops, I did not mean to take the troop there. Argument just to take the Solari and the troop and just like go for an early Swordmaster. Everyone is lagging behind on Swordmaster, which is my favorite kind of game where nobody's got any Solari. This combat doesn't give Solari. So I feel like I can just kind of get back into this a little bit since I now have access to Siege Tabor and first action next round. The big problem is I don't think I have another blue card. I think all my blue cards are in my hand. So that's going to be a problem. So I'm probably not going to get to siege next round, and we'll have to get there some other way, unless something really lucky happens. Contracts for Zoff picks up the spice refinery contract for water. It's one of the best contracts in the game. Any of the contracts that give water and spies, I think those are some of the best. And Lanny reveals his unswerving loyalty yet again, picks up more Fremen tribal synergy. So now he's got some pretty good stuff. I just pick up this this guild card and am good with it. I need extra access. Very undercosted guild card. This guild card is kind of nuts, and there's a lot of potential to just get guild cards right now. There's the Spacing Guild's Favor, one of my favorites in this game. So seven revealed for 2, but didn't buy anything, and then Corinth City, which I'm sorry I missed in the first round. Zoff picked up. But now reveals it just for the Solari, so he doesn't have to do anything to get his Swordmaster, basically. He'll just like eventually get there, and then he can just take it at his leisure. So here's my yellow green hand, but we're gonna go into Haga Basin. We gotta block Irulan. Oh, something worth noting is that Lanny didn't take his hooks. He blew the wall. So this is something he was trying to do a while back, is he was just like blowing the wall as soon as possible and seeing what happens. And this game will kind of show you what happens. I was very confused why he did this, but not everyone, but Zoff, who plays with him a lot, and even Cheesable, who just showed up, and he said that this is something that Lanny has been trying to do for a long time, is to blow the wall as soon as humanly possible and just see what happens. Like, can you take advantage of it? Because right now, if I had drawn a blue, I would be the first one to get worms. Unfortunately, I don't have that ability. But I do have the ability to potentially win this combat if Zophorus does not want to bother getting in there. So Seven's going to play his Maker Keeper to the refinery and get some Solari a little bit closer to his Swordmaster, drawing 2 cards with the contract. Very good. And does he get any bonuses? He doesn't yet get any bonuses from that card. But that probably means it's only blue in hand, so it's unfortunate. I think he asks if he can put a troop in, even though he was a little late, because he kind of yeah, there we go. So he's looking to put 1 troop in here. He just wants the 2nd or 3rd place rewards. The 4 Solari here is obviously the prize. Zoff gets to hooks first. So based on how Lanny's been playing this, he basically gave Zoff the ability to get to worms before him, it's a little weird and kingmakey, in my opinion. I don't think blowing the wall is a very good idea unless you know you can take advantage of it. But I mean, I don't know, Lanny's a better player than me, so he definitely likes to experiment. And we're taking a look here. We've got his research station card. Calculus of Power he plays, trashing a Dune. Heading over to Arakeen. And he's going to throw 3 in here. Now, I think this is just to get the distraction, because I am going to probably win this combat. And if I don't, I can always go to ground and take my spy where I really need it right now. Because I do have 2 Solari. I have a pretty good chance of just like getting 4 more Solari from the refinery, and then I'm good. But in this case, I decided to do something else. I actually head over to Assembly Hall, and the reason I did that is because I wanted to hit 6. I really would like this good Fremen card down here in the row. And we'll see if I can get it. Dagger for 7. Probably just restocking here. Gather support. Yep, makes sense. And then Fade is going to, I don't know, hit up a Fremen. Maybe the Fremen? Maybe not going to get involved here. He might be already feeling like he's too involved. He can throw 2 more in and try to win it. I could try to win it though, because I have contingency plan. Oh, and here we had this little issue. The the board. There are some bugs with the board. They're no longer like this, but I don't think. But the board, sometimes the pieces, the markers get stood on their ends for some reason. Super weird. So we ended up doing this a little bit manually. Anyway. This is the there's one way of doing it. There we go. Move them up yourselves. And now it works somehow. Anyway, so that's that. And Zoff is going to go in with 3 troops here. So he's going to probably win this one. So I'm just going to retreat here. Go to ground and get my spy. It's probably the best thing that could have happened, honestly. This is not a great combat for me. Getting 2nd place, though, is pretty solid. I don't know. What do I do here? I did not remember. It's like my decision is either to go get 2nd place or to go to ground and just give it up. There is a world where I could play both of them. And if Lanny has no daggers, I could definitely get away with that. But I think he's got beast spoils in hand at this point, so I don't think that is a reasonable play. Just looking through Seven's discard. He has nothing discarded or trashed yet, so reveal, get my dagger, buy for 6. And do I get Spacing Guild's favor here, or do I pick up this Arrakis Revolt? And it looks like it's the Revolt. I like Revolt quite a lot, although I do have some Spacing Guild synergy, and that's a very good card. The Subversive Advisor is also good. This is a really difficult decision. Treacherous Maneuver just to have is fine, but I think it's lower priority than Spacing Guild or Arrakis. For me, I think I'm not going Arrakis Revolt because I'm playing Emperor. I'm not planning on combat, so I think Spacing Guild favor is the pick, and I think that's what I take here. Revealing, sadly, a steersman for the rest of the table. Two, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 persuasion for Gurney. Not quite enough. If he had thrown a couple more troops in, he would be very happy with this steersman. But unfortunately he is not. But he'll get a compensation in the Arrakis Revolt. I assume he takes the Arrakis Revolt here. It's the best card that he can afford. I like my Spacing Guild. I have a lot of Spacing Guild synergy and some Fremen, just like good old cards that give you some water, some extra troops. You know, those are some things you need. So I think the decision here for him is whether to take the card that gives him an immediate spy, or to take the card that gives him like potential out to win the last combat. Because he has to contend with Lannister's combat build right now, but and it's the last combat card that's come up. I don't think he can give Princess Irulan, that is Lannister, of course, both of them, like all of the combat cards. But maybe he just doesn't care anymore. Maybe it's too important to play a flexible game with the spies. And it is a difficult decision too. I think this is a difficult decision. Sending that to Landsraad would be very strong. Worth noting that Fade played their first spy, but where did it go? Maybe they didn't play their first spy. Or maybe they used it. Oh, I think they used it. So he ends up taking the Subversive Advisor, which I think Subversive Advisor is a very good card. I am surprised at this choice, though. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for Lannister. Not quite enough for the Arrakis Revolt, but it is enough for the best card in the game. Unfortunately, now he has track climbing capabilities. I retreat, which also keeps me ahead of 7. Oh no, it doesn't. So I keep one in because I really want that 3rd place. This is a really unfortunate result for Gurney. He definitely wants 3rd place here, but it's not too bad. Two troops for 3 Solari is reasonable, and since I'm the Emperor, I just print money. So yeah, I just need the money. Okay, Spy goes on the Spacing Guild. That's my other favorite place. Spacing Guild and Landsraad. Landsraad was taken, of course, by Gurney, and I think that was a smart play, putting the Subversive Advisor Spy on the Landsraad at the Swordmaster. He is out of position to take Swordmaster, so this makes a lot of sense. He's not going to be able to get there before Zoff, and certainly not going to be able to get there before me. Unless something really weird happens. And I have just an abysmal hand. But the nice thing about the Emperor is that I can kind of just like keep doing this right now. I can draw cards. I've got no water. I probably will get my my hooks this round. Gurney has no hooks. Is very sad without hooks. Fade already has their hooks. Lanny has a chance to get his hooks, but he doesn't have to because he has a spy there, so he might actually give them to me, thinking he needs to do something more relevant right away. Here's a Diplo to supplies for Gurney, and he's eyeing up that deep desert for that juicy spice. And here's some more Solari. This I think was a very greedy play by Zoff, but maybe it was the right play. Now he has enough for both his Swordmaster and the High Council. He could potentially get them both this turn, or this round. He needs the Spice Refinery water as well, which is being pointed out to him. Lanny does go block the siege, which is not great for me. That leaves me not a great deal of options. I have 5 Solari, so I could go get my High Council, or I could just try to get Spice and throw in some troops and just like bully a little bit. I keep drawing these daggers back to back, which is not bad. I prefer to have them back to back if I'm going to. I know some people would probably disagree with me on that. I am eyeing up playing the Still Tent, but like getting to 5 spice is very important. The question is, do I commit here? I don't know if I do, and I don't, because I really hate this combat. This is the Spice Refinery combat, isn't it? Or no, is it the... I can't remember. It's one of the city combats, and I get them confused. I think it's the maybe it's Arakeen. Oh, I think it's Arakeen. No, Spice Refinery. No, Imperial Basin, excuse me. That's Imperial Basin. Imperial Basin combat. Yeah, this one's fine to win, actually. It's a good one to win. I really like winning this one. Just like in the base game, having the extra spice at the Imperial Basin is very good, especially since spice dries up quickly. It would be nice to have that bonus. And I'd say right at this point in the game, I'm feeling like I'm not far behind. I'm going to get intrigues because I think intrigues are so important here. I get the Counselor's Dispensation, or Counselor's Admonition, whatever it's called. The one that gives you 2 water if you have a seat on the High Council. I really like this card. I think it's fine. I like to play games where I can actually get the High Council, and this one I definitely have enough money. But I am eyeing up hitting a couple other spaces before then. So I don't know. We'll see what I do. Lanny throws in a worm. We're going to have to concede this because now his worm gambit with blowing up the wall is paying off. It is a little bit like aligning for him because nobody else blocked Hug a Basin. I didn't have any water, and Zoff decided not to do that, so it's on us to block that space. It's not the worst combat to give up, to be honest, but yeah, here we are. 3 persuasion, 1 dagger for me, 1 extra persuasion, so 4 persuasion. Not a lot of great options. I'm just going to take some Prepare the Ways, and I could also just not take Prepare the Ways, but I think having like 2 Prepare the Ways, I think you want like 2 or 3 Prepare the Ways. There's not a lot of cards that have 2 persuasion. I take 1. I think taking 2 is better in this situation, but that's fine. It does dilute your deck a little bit. Giving up this combat doesn't feel great, but we have to think in the future. So our next round is going to be good because we'll have our ring. We'll also have our diplomacy, and we have access to Highliner, so we can leverage that. Lenny also has access to Highliner now, and so does Seven. So it's a little bit weird. Like, we have access behind all of those players. So we potentially, and we drew actually the nuts here. So we got the Guild Advisor, the whatever it's called, Guild Advisor in the Spacing Guild's favor. We got our Guild Synergy versus Lenny's Fremen Synergy. Let's see if this works out in our favor. We're just going to be just swimming in spice this game. This is a good combat for me. It does match. And if I can get access to Siege Tabor, which I am eyeing up right now, I could Siege Tabor with Ring and then Highline. That's an option. I can Siege Tabor. Can I do anything else? This is 5, 6, 7. I don't have enough for Swordmaster. Actually, I don't have enough, and I don't have 2 greens. I could potentially go. Where could I go? Can't go shipping quite yet. So maybe that's what I should be thinking about, is setting up my Spacing Guild. Looks like I'm going to be looking at my ring here. Okay. Dangerous Rhetoric was flipped in the row. This is a tough decision too. So what are we doing here? We're getting the Solari. Oh, someone has picked up their Swordmaster. So Zophorus got their Swordmaster. So now I can get that. So I missed that. But yeah, in the playback, that makes a lot of sense. Holding on to the contingency plan was in fact a contingency plan so that I can actually get my Swordmaster. So now I'm pretty much set. The ring is nice because it helps me keep my garrison stocked and my money flowing in. Now I can do my the play I was actually just talking about, where I can go Highline, drawing some cards, and see what I get. I will end up drawing 3 cards, which is kind of insane in this game, like to draw 3 cards, but it's great to do that. Let's do it. I think that's what I'm going to end up doing. Zophorus, let's see, what did Gurney do? Gurney got a contract. Okay, he picked up the Spice Must Flow contract that gives a Spacing Guild bump. Really like that contract. It's very good. Arakeen for Fade with the ring is going to trash a card. No, is going to put a spy down. And he's now got more water, so 4 water for Fade. Not much spice, but 4 water. At this point in the game, you kind of want to be generating your spice. you want to be able to kind of just like launch into combat. Okay, here we go. So we are going to, I'm not going to draw. I think drawing with this spy is a mistake. Keeping this spy here in late game is so much more important. Especially since I do have 3 access to the Spacing Guild. I don't think I should be doing it. I don't think I should draw this spy. If I do, I'm a little bit sad. But maybe I'm thinking that I need to hit something special out of my deck. Do I want to hit a Spice Must Flow this round? That would be 4 cards. Oh, sorry, 1, 2, 3. I don't. So I'm going to discard this, get 2 Spice. So back to 3. I'll draw 2 cards, not 3, excuse me. Okay, so I hit all my desert cards, and we're going into the combat. We want to win this one. Let's look at Lanny. Lanny's got Beast Spoils in there. That's all I wanted to know. Beast Spoils is not in his hand. So even if he had Calculus, he can't use it to get extra troops. This seems reasonable. Lanny's already out of agents, right? So he's stuck like that. He has no intrigues. I have 1 dagger in hand. So I think the highest he could have in hand is 2 daggers, maybe 3. So I put an extra guy and I've got 3 in reserve. So this seems reasonable. I do want to win this combat now because it puts me back to 5 spice. If you have to spend your spice to go, spend your 5 spice, you really want to be able to recoup that spice right away. So this combat, the Spice Refinery combat, is a pretty nice one. I know that a lot of people don't like it, but especially if you start with the green objective card, the Chris Knife, you really do want to be able to leverage this one when it comes out. It doesn't always come out, of course, but most of the time it does. It is nice. 7 has a couple of things to think about here. He's not getting in this combat. He could draw cards. He's kind of in a weird spot too. Like he can't Highline now because he decided to go to contract instead of Highline. He should have gone Highline, I think, first. But then obviously he's worried that I would just Highline over the top of him, which I could certainly do. I mean, he has more combat potential than I do. And he decides to do this instead of Swordmaster, which I think is a huge mistake. So he gets this High Council, and I don't mind getting High Council first. He does keep his spy there, but now he has no Solari, and this is not a Solari combat, so he couldn't even get anything from that anyway. So, and he's not quite at level 2 on the Spacing Guild, so he can't ship. So he's kind of in this weird limbo where he's going to have a little bit of trouble getting his money. We'll see how that goes. But Zoph is going to hit up. Where's he go? Where did he go? He's going to the Emperor. He's going to pick up a contract, pick up the BG High Council. That gives you the Bene Gesserit bump contract. So here's a bunch of nothing from Lanny. Lanny has no Fremen. His Fremen are in his discard pile. This is something I was checking earlier. So he does get another troop, but he can't deploy it, which is nice. And he can't use the Calculus. And here we're going to start trashing our deck. This is nice. Let's just go ship, because I love shipping. I'm the Emperor. And do we want to chase Fremen? Do we want to go? I mean, I don't know, but Bene Gesserit, this is going to be a Spacing Guild bump, right? Go for the Emperor or the Spacing Guild Alliance here. Going for the Alliance makes the most sense to me. The second most sense would be for Emperor, because I definitely want to get privilege eventually. And so I decided to do that. So I think that is the most conservative way to play this. I don't really care about the Bene Gesserit right now. I have some access. I'll be able to get there eventually. But I think the Bene Gesserit track is potentially the weakest in the game. I think this might be a controversial position, but I think that the Emperor track is stronger and a better place to actually invest in than the BG most of the time. We have a Steersman for Gurney, which is a little late, right? A little late. I decide to trash the dagger, yeah, out of there instead of something out of my hand, because I apparently did not see that was in there. All right, we have a reveal for Zophorus with with an unfortunate. I mean, he can take his High Council right now. I don't know if that's something he really wants to do. He already has his Swordmaster, so maybe it is something he wants to do. He probably should do that then. And then he has enough to pick up this other point card. He's gonna be flooded on point cards. I think that's a little bit too many point cards. Also, the Spacing Guild, he can be considering taking Junction HQ away from me, or Lanny, or Seven. Nope, but he goes for the Smuggler's Haven. The Smuggler's Haven, of course, one of the strongest cards, I think, in the game. It's printing points. Can't go wrong. Bene Gesserit Operative, also, I think, the best Bene Gesserit card in the game, just because of how flexible it is and how central it is to every strategy, and getting spies is so important. So we're going to take this combat down. Lanny's an open book, and we are going to be very happy to get some spice and a spy, which is not going to go at the Bene Gesserit because that would have been nice at this point, because I'm so far down on that one. But we're going to probably take the Emperor one, or we could take shipping. I think shipping is also a good idea. Shipping and also maybe Hagabasin. But I decide on going with Emperor. I don't have any real reason for this decision other than the fact that I do want to hit the Emperor one more time. And just get privilege. So maybe that's what I was thinking, like just not being blocked. I draw my Diplo. I draw a bunch of base cards from the starting deck. Nothing special. And we're still holding on to this Counselor's Ambition, which now we can use because we'll be able to pick up the High Council. Although now I've got so much potential of just like steamrolling these alliances, because this makes me actually, maybe I should have actually put that spy on shipping here, because having my Signet Ring in hand makes me feel like I needed to hit spice, hit that. There's no guarantee I was going to get it though. I kind of feel like I'm in position to do that though, because Lannister's sitting on 7 spice, and 10 spice is not like that necessary. I mean, maybe it is. Here's a Weirding Woman. Where's he going with Weirding Woman? Hagabasin. 1 worm, 2 troops. Pretty good start. Now he has to make sure that all of his stuff, all of his actions count, because he only has 2 actions right now. I'm actually surprised by this, to be honest. I think that given he could get Swordmaster by just shipping and then picking up Swordmaster and then doing something else, I think he would be better set up for next round. Anyway, it's my turn. My options are Ring or Diplomacy, but I really want the spice. I mentioned the spice is very important right now because I need to hit shipping. And I don't think we're going to bother throwing... We could throw like 1 in here. I don't really like throwing anything in here, but 1 is maybe reasonable. Dune for contracts. For Gurney, more contracts. Infinite contracts. He sees 2 contracts, 2 very, 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 very juicy contracts for Highliner. The Mega Liner and the Water Liner. The Mega Liner is my choice. I say, don't take the Mega Liner one. I'll take it. No, I don't say that. But we do have a little conversation about which one's better. And I think it just depends. I think though, for his gameplay, I think the Mega Liner was just better because he needs to win a combat like really badly. I also wonder like if he's about to go into combat, like hit that combat, and if he does, then well, I might not be able to get this combat. I am eyeing it up though. I have enough potential. I think I have potential to go get this one. I guess not. I guess I can't get any spice, so maybe not, because I only have 4, which is bad. But it's okay. Second place would be good too. I guess the good thing here, though, is that since Lanny and Seven, that is Irulan and Gurney, are both staring at each other with 8 spice, there's almost like this fear that one of them is going to go first, and then the other one's just not going to have to commit that much. And so I think that Seven might be a little worried about his position, seeing as how I could potentially have combat next round. Zophorus could have a bunch of combat next round, but if he doesn't go in now, he might be kind of cut out of combats entirely. Now, I think this is a bad combat for Gurney, a really bad combat for Gurney. I think it's also a really bad combat for Lanny, for Irulan. I think it's a very good combat for Zophorus, though. And so this play to Deep Desert makes a lot of sense. Obviously, it's already paired for him. He's defending his Fremen alliance, so it's not like the best thing. It doesn't get him an extra point. So I'm pretty happy about this. Like if he wins this one, he keeps the Fremen alliance. I wasn't planning on going up that track anyway. So that's cool. So I think I'm just going to let this happen. I don't have to go and bother trying to contest this or even get in here. I might get like 2 spice. Going back up to 5, of course, would be very nice. Here's a Diplo from Lanny. Where's he going? Highline? He's thinking about Highliner here. Or no, he's going to block me. And now this is interesting because this is kind of what I was talking about. Like maybe this is the reason I thought I probably needed to put my spy there. I know Lannister really likes the Emperor, and he wants Megaliner, of course. I think. Which one do you want? And I ask him, and he's not sure. I think he wants Megaliner. Yep. All right, so he's gonna take Megaliner, and then we are gonna be sad because we definitely wanted that. For some reason, the button is not working, so we're just gonna get it up there. And I guess the question here is, does my plan rely on Emperor, or am I just doing it to get the extra bits here? I think I'm just gonna like double bump with shipping, right? Double bumping with shipping sounds like the best plan. So if I double bump, I have enough to get my Emperor bump, get another spacing bump, and then I could potentially highline this even if I want it. No, I can't highline it, but oh, we're going to do it this way. Okay, this is fine too. Do the full service. Get the research station contract or the espionage one. Probably the espionage one. Honestly, it's probably the espionage one because I have nothing in the BG, and so I'm more likely to do that. But I think I actually take the blue one here. I'm actually really bad at playing with the contracts. The contracts for me, I just don't kind of like them very much. I think they're very irritating to play with. Oh yeah, and I think about, oh yeah, some Seven mentions, oh, you could also take your Emperor once. I'm like, oh yeah, that's not a bad idea. It's not a bad idea. The question is, which one do you take first? I think the recall agent one is better in a vacuum. I see that Seven has a research station one there, and I would like to break up his combo, but I do take the Sardaukar contract instead. And I think that's a fine play. I like this play. I'm having a very long think about it because I don't know if this is a very important thing to think about, but having the extra cards versus having the extra action, I think my cards are good enough with the Spacing Guild synergies that I don't think I need the extra card draws to get my Spicemas flows. We are sitting like pretty close to even. We are even with Zoff, and Zoff is a very strong player. And so I feel like I'm doing okay here. And here's a steersman from Gurney, which, I mean, alarm bells could be going off for anyone who's trying to win this combat. Like, he could have used that and just highlined too. So I'm a little surprised. At that. Like, why he didn't just do that, honestly. He could win the combat just straight up because Lanny's out of agents. But maybe he just really wants to hit that Spicemas flow this round. If not, he should have thrown in if he was trying to hit Spicemas flow, he definitely should have thrown in the extra 2 troops, because you can never know when you're gonna miss out on a Spicemas flow, I guess. But it seems like he's got it under control. Reveal for Lanny is 5 persuasion and a beast spoils. So that's going to put him even with Zoff for now. And I'm just going to double bump. And the question is, where do I double bump? Emperor seems very solid here. BG gets me a point. Both of them get me a point. Spacing Guild gets me a point and money, which is nice. I could try to race Fremen, which is a super bad play, and I should not do this. But I do entertain the idea, and I think maybe I start taunting Zoff a little bit and saying, yeah, I could do this. You know, maybe this is a good idea for me. And he's like, okay. It's not a good idea, though. Although he is the leader, and my thoughts are that, you know, obviously you want to target the leader and pull them back a little bit, so that would be one way to do that. However, if he does win this combat, then it's all for naught. There's no point for doing that. So I decide with Emperor, and I'm going to take the Spy at Haga Basin. Makes a lot of sense to me. Potentially, yep, Haga Basin. Just having that there so that you can block it from other people is very nice. Okay. So we're going to see an extra bump here from Gurney or not? He'd know because he doesn't have a spy, excuse me, on a faction board. So he's just using it to move and recall his agent, which he has to do. There he goes. I think that's an interesting move. It's obviously things are not going so well for him with the agent placement. Like all of the agents on those faction spaces have been a nuisance. And that's a great card. There's another Spacing Guild. A couple really great Spacing Guild cards in the row right now. In my reveal, I decided to just pick up more persuasion so I can buy a Spicemas flow pretty soon. I feel pretty good about this, actually. I feel like I'm better suited to buy Spicemas flows than Zoff is, based on what he bought. You know, he has a couple cards that require him to discard cards to get points. And then he has a couple cards that only have 1 persuasion. So while I think he has the better power in general, I think I have a way to catch up with Spicemas flows, hopefully. And then Gurney and Lanny, like, I think Seven and Lanny right now have been kind of fighting each other a little bit. I know Zoff and Lanny are fighting each other right now. The question is who's going to end up ahead here, because I think if Zoff wins this combat, he's a pretty decent amount ahead. So Lanny needs to have like some combat cards in hand. He does have 2 intrigues, that is. And now I am tied right now with Zoff. So we're doing okay. And in fact, I think that I might be a slight favorite, just based on my contract my potential for Spice Must Flows, and I am still in need of a point from Bene Gesserit, so I have a point there to get. Zoff also has 2 points. He has Bene Gesserit and Spacing, which would put him up to 8. He does definitely need that Spacing Guild access too, so it's good that he got that. Though if Lannister wins this combat, he could potentially leapfrog Zophorus in the Fremen, and I think he would do it too. 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So that's a Spice Must Flow for Gurney. Spice Must Flow and a bump with the Spacing Guild looks pretty good, although looks pretty behind right now. The Fremen track he hasn't even made any progress on, and that is never good. It feels so bad when you have to make up ground on the Fremen late in the game. So, all right, we're in combat. And Zoff's going to take it. I mean, that's definitely not good for the table. 7 points. The Fremen Alliance is sealed. As I mentioned, though, it probably doesn't matter that much if the Fremen Alliance is sealed. It doesn't change anything. And my hand is great. Okay, so I start here. I don't have any spice, which is unfortunate. But I don't have worms. I don't have the way to get worms. What a predicament I'm in. But I do have the ability to go to Bene Gesserit, and I do need to do that pretty badly. The question is, does drawing a card matter more than getting an intrigue card? And I don't know. I think drawing a card is better here because it might get me my hooks. But what am I rethinking here? It's interesting. I guess I'm thinking of whether I want to go Haga Basin, pull a spy, and then get my double spy, but no, I got to do it this way. So I do find a blue access card, which is nice. Spy is going to go Bene Gesserit. Could also be Arakeen or Research Station. Okay, I like this too. I like that I did a good thing back in the past. Yeah, my Siege Tabor. So now I'll be able to get Siege Tabor. I unfortunately, though, won't be able to get this draw with the Prepare the Way. I'm not quite there yet. And it is nice that Zoff is out of spice. That is one saving grace of this game, that Zoff has basically committed all his resources. He could potentially, like, if he wins this combat, just outright win the game because he could probably pay the Solari. Now the other problem here is that he could go Bene Gesserit now, and he could get up to 9. He could buy Spice Must Flow. Well, he can also do it through High Council, so that's actually, it doesn't really matter. So Lanny, me, and Seven would have to block High Council and Secrets, which is just not really in the cards. And Cheesables jumping in here because Lanny's having some issues with his computer, so we're going to be Cheesables going to, who was in a gray seat before, or I think maybe he was in the black seat. Lanny's just telling him what he wants him to do. So I think this is Hook's time. pull the spy. Draw 1 card. Get a blue that's fine. Throw 3 troops in. If we can win this combat, we're very happy. It doesn't matter. It's not a match for us. Like, we are out of matches. Here's a highliner. Like, this looks bad. It looks really bad. I'm very worried that Zoff is going to end up winning this round by Spice Must Flow, like High Council. You know, there's also a chance that he just drew the worst hand, like his Carino card, and then, like, you know, something else. So there's a very good chance that he doesn't have it. But he gets his point here. He's at 9. He could also have stockpiles, not raid stockpiles, the Fremen stockpiles card for a point. There's no other secret points he could have, but that's kind of crazy. Like, he's just done such a good job this game. And I don't think we played poorly either. I think he got extra points from 2 cards that give points. And you can kind of see the snowball effect of basically he just did what the cards said to get points, and that rewarded him. So there's not much any of us could really do about that. Maybe Lanny kind of like threw him a bone with the early hooks, but his question now is, what is he doing with his last action? And just throwing more troops in. So now I have Imperial Privilege, which is very fun. So let's do that. Get rid of this Counselor's Admonition. Get a card that draws me more cards. I have to pull an agent back, which I will do so in just a second. I think which one do I take? I think I take the, I'm not really sure which one I take. Siege? Yeah, we're all like thinking about this. This was a very tough round, because we're all worried that this is the last round. And it very well could be. Right. So Seven's thinking, can he make up ground with this combat? He's going to win this combat. He gets 1, 2 points, no match. He doesn't have hooks, which really hurts here. So there's a couple options for him. He could ship, right? He could do shipping, and he could go to Fremen to get that extra bump, but that's his last action. He won't be able to do much else. He'll get a point from that. Maybe he wins the combat. That's a tough call. Zoff still has an action left. I'm out for the round, but likely going to buy a Spice Must Fly. I have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, I should have I still haven't pulled back my agent. And it eventually gets there, I promise. And then we talk about it, say, like, would you have gone to this space anyway? Sorry. So, probably problems of playing on TTS is you expect a level of automation, and then you forget when not to do automation. So he does get his point with Fremen. There's Carino City. So he's going to discard 2 cards for an extra point. So this will be the last round, no matter what. And quite a blowout, it feels like, from Zoff's perspective, I'm sure. And I just realized that I forgot to take my agent back. Do not have a way to use this starter card, though. We're going to draw a card, see if we hit Spice Must Flow. We actually do. We actually do. We actually have a pretty good hand. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And I'm going to draw some more cards. So how do we do that? I mean, it's not too bad. We can get stuck in this combat a little bit more. Yeah, my options just really open up when I see this, though. So I'm a little surprised. So could we win this combat? That's the question I try to think of. Could we win this combat? We go Haga Basin, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's 7 more strength. That puts me 1 ahead of Zophorus. It's not like a great idea. It's a pretty miserable idea, to be quite honest. Yep. So we're just hoping he has nothing in hand, right? 7 has nothing in hand. Or he has no daggers. But more spice. And I think we're all like at this point realize there's not much else we can do to stop Zophorus. I reveal 1 extra dagger. Probably not going to be relevant. Point. It is a potential 3 points for me if I do win this, but I think Zoph has it. So if Zoph has nothing in hand, 7 passes. And it goes to 7's going to pass, most likely. He's got nothing in hand. He's telegraphed he had nothing in hand. Zophorus says he has nothing in hand. Cheesable, rather, Lannister says he has nothing that matters. And I am going to end up winning this game at 10 points. So the 3 points from this combat, and I break. Do I win on tiebreakers? I win on tiebreakers. I win on absolute tiebreakers. Absolutely nuts. Let's listen to this one. See what I was thinking at the time.
He could, yeah.
100% he was going to win it. I can't believe that worked at all. I was like, honestly, like you got to have something. There's no way.
He didn't have anything in the previous combat, so I was like, I don't think he has it.
Oh my god. I thought he was just sandbagging it. Like, honestly. Okay. Wow. Cool.
He had 7 swords. He didn't fulfill it, I guess.
Hey, stuff. Yeah, we got Shaddam win. Yeah. Oh, that was pretty fun. Cheesable's really, really happy for that win. I was too. It was pretty amazing. We got that win, barely squeaked it by with 1 Solari. Can you believe that? It's amazing. And that was that. I mean, I think we played a pretty solid game and not a perfect game, not a perfect game at all. But we held our own and picked our battles. Right? We definitely picked our battles that game, and that's something to take away from it. You have to make sure you get your pair, and then try to get your 2 or 3 points in the last combat. Right? One spice missile is pretty essential. I feel if we didn't get that, we would have lost. So getting that extra draw was very, very important. And with that, guys, that is gonna do it for me. Thank you all for watching, and this has been let's call it a Dune After Dark. It is a Dune After Dark, and I'll see you next time. Take care.